If you didn't know, failing is where people fail.
Welcome to the JesseAF show. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Welcome to my daily podcast.
Hey everybody, my name is Jesse Grossbohlin and welcome to the JesseAF show. Today is Saturday, June 1st, 2019, episode 111 of my daily podcast. Yeah, that's right, daily. That means every single day I'll be posting a new episode. So please check in tomorrow for my next episode. I'm on Google Play Music, Apple Podcast, SoundCloud, and YouTube. So if you have any of those platforms, please consider subscribing. That way you get notifications for whenever I post a new episode. Yeah, that kind of sounds redundant, doesn't it? Failing is where people fail. Let me be more clear. So when you're doing something in your life that is challenging and it's unknown to you and you're not really familiar with it, and all that stuff, and you try it out and it doesn't exactly go the way you want it to go, and you inevitably fail at it, it gets bad. Because you dwell on that failure, you dwell on the past, you dwell on your inability to win at doing that. Now, some people would say that they really loved that thing that they failed at doing. That they really loved that thing that they just didn't run a good business doing, and the trick is that you have to really figure out why you failed. And that really goes into the whole idea of self-awareness. You have to be self-aware, right? You have to understand why you failed. You also have to understand if creating a business around that thing is exactly what you need to do. Or you didn't really hire the right people, or you don't know how to do this or that. There's so many aspects of running a business, of starting a business, of being a part of a business that inevitably fails. So it could be an outside factor, like you hired someone outside factor would be the market wasn't right for it. It just wasn't right for it. Your time is not now. Okay, that's an option, sure. Or it could be an internal. So you hired someone that didn't do their job right, and you didn't fire them immediately when you figured out that they didn't do their job right, and they costed money, and you wasted money on them. And inevitably, your business went to negative, and you failed. There's that, and then there's the whole idea of you didn't know exactly how to hire that person, so you didn't want to end up firing that person because you sold them on a good dream, a good goal, and you just didn't want to disappoint that person by firing them. And that's an option too. I mean, there's so many different ways we fail. Maybe your product wasn't good enough. Maybe you weren't honest enough with your customers. Maybe your product wasn't the best. There's so much. And when people really fail is when they start that business again and they do the same exact thing. Or they fail once and then they never do it again, or they never try again. And that's a real problem. Because if you love something a lot, or if I'm going to go back a little bit. If you also create that business, and maybe business is just not right for you, and maybe you should just work doing that under someone else, maybe that's a better idea. So there are those things. You have to think about it. You have to be like, did I make the right choices? Did I create a good business? Did I create a bad business? Did I create a business just to make money? Did I create a business to itch my own itch? Or scratch my own itch? Itch my own itch. That doesn't make sense. Whatever. And a lot of people fail because they keep trying to do the same thing over and over again, or they just don't do it at all. They don't try again. And failing really shows you that you have things to learn, things to change about your business, about how you conducted business, about who you hired and who you fired and who you didn't fire. And that's where you have to learn. You have to try again, but you have to do it differently next time. And people stay in their way because they're like, well, I made good money up until this point, but you weren't realizing the fact that you just had so much new so many new faces that were not being attracted, and you were just really selling to your family, and your family just encouraged your business by giving you money. And that happens a lot too. Your family will give you money. Of course, they will support everything you do. The people that love you will support what you do, right? But maybe it's not exactly what other people want, or those other people really realize that your business wasn't that great at all in the start, and it's hard. It's hard to internalize this stuff because you don't want to say that you failed because you failed. You want to blame others for your failure. And that's where people fail a lot. Because they don't understand the fact that you created your own business. They created their own business. And now they are the boss. They are in charge of every single thing that happens in that business. They are responsible for everything that happens in the business. They're responsible for every failure that happens in the business. They're responsible for every success in the business. And they don't take that responsibility. They put that responsibility on their employees. Well, that person didn't do a good job, but you hired them. Yeah, but I didn't think they would. You didn't ask them the right questions, but they had a great resume. Did you fact check it? Maybe the business wasn't their type of business. Maybe it just wasn't good for them. And you had the choice to fire them, but you didn't fire them. What about that? And a lot of people are like, but I don't like firing people because that's disappointing other people. And what if I couldn't find another person to cover that position. Well, wouldn't you be able to take over that position until you hired someone else? See, people hire people way too soon when they start a company. They have to manage every little thing in that business first. They have to run the business all by themselves. And sure, eventually they need a financial advisor. That way they can have someone look at that stuff for them. That way they don't have to worry about all that stuff. But at the same time, they have to keep a watchful eye on that financial advisor and make sure that they're doing the right stuff. So you have to fact check them until you understand that they are good at doing what they do. And maybe you hire 2 people to do your booking, or you do the first step of the booking where you are taking down all the costs, all the income, and you're figuring out your profit margin, and then you hand it off to them to file it. And then during their filing, they do something wrong. You realize it after a week, and you're like, hey, can I talk to you about this? And then that's when you take over, But micromanaging is never a good thing. And a lot of people do it when they're starting their business and hiring a lot of different people. They micromanage all the time because they're afraid of it failing. And then guess what? They fail. People that fail because of themselves. Because they stepped into something that they didn't know how to do. I hope you guys have a really great day, and I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Failing is an option. Just remember that. You'll be stronger. This episode went a little bit long, so I will see you guys over on my podcast form on Google Play Music, Apple Podcast, and SoundCloud. I will see you guys there.